able to get to cover a lot of ground in way of stunning and kind of concussing the attacking side of or Esports, I think that's going to be huge. But we don't have to pick my brain any longer. We get to jump on into the action. Or Esports mounting their defense here in the pistol round of Pearl. This series is for qualification to the North American Valorant Challenger Circuit. And we get started right here. It's aggressive out towards A main.
Very aggressive at that, though. Already a bit of a 3v3 lineup here. Nebula goes down, and immediately opening fight, Adder falls. It's going to leave Okeanos a bit of an island. Rotate's already been called by Weeded to go back over to B. That's been already taken over by Squirtle Squad. It forces OR to re-back themselves up, reposition, re-rotate back around, but look who's hiding, it's Lear.
And Governor about to be caught in the crossfires. A tough spot, and there it is. Lear finally gets it done. Not needed was Nilly on the backstab. Prowler for no information, but Weeded able to get this spike planted and has stars to play with. This is going to be a pretty strong post-plant setup, but they are down 2 players here, Keg.
They are, but look at Lear trying to use that utility, possibly in just a few seconds to find some opening information. Harmful there, protecting from the connector, making sure it's a singular file in for OR.
Ooh, and it's getting tough. Here comes a util from the initiators. Eye goes out, flash to follow. Weeded eventually dealt with, and now Harmful. Probably one of the hardest jobs to have, a 1v5, and he's only good for the first, and the retake's pretty darn swift for OR Esports.
Yeah, one thing I've realized watching OR for the defense on Pearl is that you can put that Nebula on the top of tower. That's not going to do anything to stop OR. It never does. In fact, what they do is they play into that Nebula's lack of line of sight, purposely in for that retake, so everyone on the team can just spill out at once and overwhelm anybody that they could have on the attack for the post plan. And Squirtle Squad, they all fell one by one, but OR again for the defense, looking really strong for that opening round. But we did see those early lineups from Okeanos going over to B site. He's not on top of spawn this time around, so no lineups this time. A lot more prowess heading towards mid. I think this is where we could possibly see, despite it being a thrifty round, maybe Governor waking up a little bit more for the mid side rotates. Well, to wait and see, though. A lot of lines of sights for the connectors there. Seldris waiting outside of R. 3 stacked up towards B, and they might have the right idea.
Ooh, okay, good damage. Out onto 1. Jonah gonna try and take the swing. These classics are actually chipping away at the defense. Unfortunately, chip damage isn't enough to win a round. It's Harmful. Gonna get caught all on his lonesome once more. Sheets flawless for the anti-eco of the defense in OR Esports. And, well, now jumping into this bonus round, it's a pretty potent one.
Yeah, and this is one of the most important rounds, possibly of the entire map or series. This is the first time now we see Squirtle Squad have their rifles. And if they lose out here against Spectres in a single stinger, it's not going to be good to see. But there we go. Squirtle Squad all hanging out right outside A site. It is going to be Harmful, though, on that lurk. Maybe trying to make some noise up B, or it could even be something to come for the mid round where everyone rotates with the spike back over to that site. But OR, they're dialed themselves back yet again. Nilly does have a lot of utility placed right outside of A, and that 0 point is going to give tell for OR to be like, hey, but you know, they might go A site this time. It's pretty aggressive, but Squirtle Squad have cut noise. They're looking to see what kind of utility they might run into in the beginning. There's one Astra Star. Nilly's still hiding. Waiting off the context here of anything, and there it is. The fast walls come up in full side take for Squirtle Squad.
Yeah, and I mean, and it's barely even slowed down by the Nano Swarm. Okeanos just jumps on over it. Harmful. Finally good for 2 this time around. He's not just the last one standing. The close angle being held by Lear. As this dog takes a bite out of the Cypher. Nilly still holding it down backside, but at the end of the day, as the dust settles, the ace site has been collected here by Squirtle Squad, and they do so a player ahead.
It's a 2v3-2. Adder's forced to duck away. Okeanos is stuck in Governor Falls.
Enemy remaining. Remaining.
Not a bad swing there from Okeanos. Low HP. Zeldris now going to look to try and play the fight here. 10 rounds left in the Spectre with 71 health in the close angles, but he falls off it for a second, and Adder is good for the round. It's Squirtle Squad's first.
But Tanner, think about all the economic damage that happened against Squirtle Squad. They had bought so many rifles after losing the first 2 rounds that even though they won the round, they're still incredibly broke. They're able to full buy a little bit more as we go into this pause. But look at all those light shields that are going to be on Squirtle Squad's side. Now, it's only going to be a little bit of extra lower HP that they have to deal with. But even then, at this level of play, every teeny tiny bit of resources that you can muster up matters the most.
Yeah, I'm getting lost in it. We're 3 rounds in and Adder's already shooting bodies. It's like that right there at the very end was the Adder. I guess not Zeldris, it was Lear. But Adder not necessarily playing that role of Cypher locking things down and being able to play off his utility. He's doing something a little bit different on the KO, and well, they're off to a pretty good start. Like you said, the economy a little rough though. A good bonus round from OR Esports, and I think. So my immediate thought going to that round was, there's SMGs. Don't go B. Or I mean, do go B. If you're attacking, right? Because now you have the rifles at your first full buy, go B. And I think the lean was that way as well for OR Esports. And then the A site hit happens, and it kind of just, the round falls apart because now you're trying to retake with your Spectres and stuff. That's always something that's so interesting to me. Doing the a podcast previously, I don't remember who it was that we were speaking with. I think it was Aaron and Enzo at the time. And I remember asking, why didn't you go B? You guys had rifles. And they were actually like, well, we weren't even thinking of that. We were just like so locked into the game. We didn't think about fighting these long angles. We were just running a play, and I think it ended up working, just like this one did here for Squirtle Squad. But as you mentioned, any Phantom, which Nilly's the only one that has it, basically becomes that one-tap Vandal because there's a heap of light shields on the side of Squirtle Squad as they slowly creep their way up towards B. I mean, scaling up pretty deep here. They're going to be met by the turret. They've got a lot of space with 5 players pushing up.
Oh, but that early turret contact is going to mean a wealth of information. That flashpoint, though, from Jonah's not going to work out, though. It was blocked out by Neon's wall, but already in the back of sight. Governor might be able to find some impact this round, has yet to find the first blood. OR, though, they're backing off, allowing Squirtle Squad to take sight. A lot of space control is there, and there's no ultimates for the defense to work with. Now, Hartford does have neural theft. That would be great for information, but that requires OR to overextend and lose a body. Jonah's already set up for the fault line, though. Divides out half the site, and there's that Nebula again that OR loves to play off of, but it dissipates away.
Yeah, OR have to be perfect here, and they need to start whipping it on. Okay, wait, hold on a second. They're perfect so far. They only lose 2 as Adder now all on his lonesome, a 1v3. I mean, 1vx is the name of the game for Squirtle Squad, but we know that Adder, if anybody can do it, it's the KO here as they line up for a moment. Unfortunately, only a bit of damage, could not close out the kills, and plenty of time for the defuse. As I was worried for the defense momentarily, but OR, again, they find a way to make me a believer.
Yeah, I was getting flashbacks to a moment for when Acreon got a Stinger double kill when everyone lined up for the defuse at that same exact spot on Pearl just a few days ago. Didn't pull it Acreon though, but Adder is still a very admirable effort. How many A's can I fit into a single sentence? That being said, though, I really enjoyed how Squirtle Squad are able to take effective space at the site, but it's the same old conclusion where you spread yourself out despite such a small site of the map that you're just not able to trade each other out, find those gunfights, but we're turning back to A site yet again. And we'd seen how Squirtle Squad were able to win and convert their first round doing this, but they lost a lot of bodies in the process. Their buys are much worse for wear this time with just classics and a single Guardian. But that won't stop our boys on Squirtle Squad.
Good util here. The nade goes a little too far. Here VNS gonna push forward. Lear also collected a kill for himself. The classics, again, this time around, they do more than chip damage. They find good damage onto one, but that weapon quickly dealt with. They make sure it's just out of reach, so nobody on the attack can find this one. So 2 classics and a Guardian are in the hands of Squirtle Squad as they cut noise and head elsewhere.
Yeah, forced to retreat, almost as if they had to lick their wounds. Weeded's gone, so there's no more smoke util to work with for Squirtle Squad, but mid-site doesn't really require a lot of smokes to use. There is that alarm bot from Nilly right on B-Link, so that's going to be a troublesome time to get around, but the way people are going right now is that cutting noise. Governor may try to be a distraction going down B-Main. Remember, Governor's a fast boy, very little HP left, and still has overdrive to potentially use here. Everyone else on Squirtle Squad, they're just waiting. Governor baiting himself out, trying to be the ultimate sacrifice here. He's able to find so much control on B-site though, but he does activate the nano swarms, drives over the rotates, but this is the execute for Okeanos to try to make noise. Zeldris is there just in case.
And it's a round that you're just supposed to win if you're OR Esports right now. But Zeldris still made it look cool. A beautiful transfer to the 2 headshots. The play was completely red. Squirtle Squad kind of just left all out on their lonesome. And now they have 5 ults to play with in this next full buy round, but OR Esports in Cerebro right now. It seems like they've got this attack read so well.
Yeah, and I mean, again, props to OR for their defense, because that seemed like that execute from Squirtle Squad should have worked well. Governor, he took a lot of space, he blinded out the enemies. No one really knew how many people were on that exec, but nobody from OR rotated. And so Squirtle Squad, they're going to try to do what they tried to do last round. 4A, oh no, they're spreading themselves apart this time. They make it seem like it's going to be an A exec yet again. The null command to sell it even more. But a slow crawl back over to B with that spike in tow.
Hey, the defense still here, though. They don't give up. They don't move prematurely. Governor going to try and create some chaos as he makes his way back halls. Lear going to find the first as Jonah cuts down the Neon as they slide across the site. And once more, the attack just completely dismissed of. As OR Esports, they're sitting pretty. And to start this round, so smart, understanding that the null command would come through. So Nilly is all the way in spawn, and now Adder looking to match that same energy as he's crept up into this mailroom and could be the linchpin in this one. But Zeldris ready for it on the angle, decapitates the robot. Back to the factory for you as Harmful and Okeanos try their hand in a 2v5.
He gets rebooted, but Squirtle Squad do only have 2 left alive. Thus far, flawless round from OR, but the spike does go down and it's extra money in Squirtle's pockets. That being said though, look at these rotates. Everyone in OR working together like a giant platoon, but Okeanos reads it out, he finds one.
And they're funneling. This is a lineup situation for him. Harmful has to do it again. He tosses out the ultimate. Hatless Cypher, the hardest to kill as they line up again. Just shy of the collateral. And another round found for OR.
5 now, 5-1. We're about a quarter of the way through the game, halfway through the first half. And so far, OR has never been in a position where they look like they're kind of in the hot seat. They've always looked super dominant. They've had these reads so well. I want to highlight what Zeldris was able to do and just read this very deep lurk from Adder in that last round, just holding the same angle, just despite knowing that Squirtle Squad didn't really make it much of an appearance on B site, and when they did, they got mowed down. But one thing we haven't seen so far from Squirtle Squad is them playing inside mid. And this is a good adjustment into the next round. Okeanos and company going for their early lineups. I don't see anything for B-Link just yet. That's like heading towards B yet again. Nilly doing Nilly things, has the nanoswarms put down perfectly the anti-governor, his position.
Bomb grenade out.
Ooh. The back hall's swarm doesn't go off, so Governor safely makes it through. Lockdown comes through. We'll see if this one gets dealt with or if it forces everybody off the site, and that seems to be the case. The Hunter Shuri will be the answer to the lockdown. Rolling Thunder, and once more the retake. It's going to be swift as the relay bolt looks to stall for now. Harmful decapitates one, but it's blue in the kill feed. And it's outweighing the red for now as Nilly pushes forward. Cosmic Divide still up. Harmful looking to play backstab, but the angle's being held. As Adder once more stands tall in a 1vx, and unfortunately he has fallen again back to the factory after the reboot.
What a chaotic post plan again. I mean, Squirtle Squad keep approaching B, expecting something different, but there really hasn't been any adjustments from OR. The lockdown was great. The Rolling Thunder did come out maybe a second too late, because otherwise, had the Rolling Thunder connected, that would have meant Okeanos with the ultimate that destroyed the lockdown wouldn't have actually, well, destroyed the lockdown. But, you know, breaking it down, OR haven't had to change anything. They just wait for the spike to go down. They know the relative placements about where Squirtle Squad like to play after, what, 7 rounds now. They just wait and just take the gunfights, and they're able to do it so successfully. And someone like Lear, too, in the midst of the chaos, when there's nothing but gravity wells, nebulas, the double walls of neon being placed up, is just still able to frag out every time, and especially has been a great counter against Governor. But we're in a timeout right now. A single round gained by Squirtle Squad thus far, and they have not been able to make an post plan on B work, Tanner, and they haven't made an entry on A effectively work either. They're running out of options already.
Yeah, they really are. We talked about this being the vibe squad, but it's tough when you look at where the vibes come from. I think Governor, I think Okeanos, I think we did, and those are the 3 at the bottom of the scoreboard for this Squirtle Squad team. So a timeout to maybe try and reset the mental a little bit and figure out how this OR Esports team is playing, which, how can you do that when I don't think they've ever really been met by anybody except for your mention of Lear, on a site, right? The A site, they give that up for free. They play so far away to make sure that 0 point hits nobody. There will always be util to try and stall. And then Lear plays aggressive, whether it be out towards B main, or B long, excuse me, or even in this round, right? He steps up towards A main, not a whole lot heard. He's going to back away from it, and Nilly will be left alone to lock down this site. Zeldris inside art. Should be met by the Owl drone. We'll see how much Okeanos can clear with this one. Turret tagged. So another Killjoy is in the vicinity, but that's all the information they get.
And I love this adjustment about pressuring mid-site. This is something Squirtle Squad hasn't done yet. And all the while all the distractions are on mid, it's actually harmful that pushes up with an operator no less. No protection, no smokes, no nothing, just a raw peek.
One cage trigger.
I love that. That's a huge pick for Harmful. And a great start, which we don't see a whole lot of, right? We've seen 5v5 post-plant situations. Now we finally get a player ahead for Squirtle Squad as Governor just going to eat the Prowler, get that spike planted. And now there's stars to work with, long angles as everybody backs away from this one. The Cosmic Divide will stall for a moment longer. Showstopper available, and well, here it comes. Looks to stop the show. No, a beautiful 0 point. That's going to slow things down, and that ultimate gets absolutely nothing as an op shot goes wide. Jumping onto the spike was Lear, but he's now sat down. Governor just going to hold down Mouse 1 to collect a couple of kills of his own. And with that Aura Esports, maybe looking to have to back away from this one. The economy's okay, but they'd much rather hang on to the rifles here in the 2v5 and let that spike explode.
Yeah, and opportunities to find exits too, possibly, but a little too far out. I really liked WeDid's Cosmic Divide there for the post-plant, because one big issue that Squirtle Squad have been having, no matter what site they go on, is that when they get that spike into the ground, there isn't like an immediate effect from OR. There's no response right after it goes down. Instead, they wait a few seconds. And Squirtle Squad, despite having that beat of breathing room, they're not able to really reposition themselves too well to fight the post plant. And that's where OR have really struck out in LCQ, because they take advantage of the fact that they can outplace people and kind of overwhelm them on those sites. But with that Cosmic Divide, it added a few extra beats on top of what Squirtle Squad normally get, and they're able to reposition so far back that it's hard for OR to fight back and take the spike back. But we'll have to wait and see how this next round goes. Early pressure again from Governor. But again, so far back, OR, they haven't played too aggressive outside of A main. There is a little bit of presence from Pure, though, looking to see if anyone pushes up, but the answer is no. Instead, though, this is the closest to art we've seen being contested, and Zell just puts the boom bot out, but the story is old as time. You pressure mid, and Squirrel Squad try to maybe rotate out. But they're putting a lot of time into mid, but it looks like A might be the way to go, Tanner.
I love how comfortable Harmful is kind of taking point for the team with the operator in hand, looking to play the angles. I talked about it yesterday where you don't have to be perfect with the operator. You just have to try and hit a body. That's what Harmful did in the round previous. Here on the A site, Pure-VNS gonna have to back away from it. Stars go down. Well, so does Governor. He tosses out the fast lane, and it doesn't matter. It cuts off and conceals for a moment, but the heads are still being found as Lear goes good for 2. Squirtle Squad, that's all they have left. Adder and Okeanos to try and hang on again. Adder looking to get that spike planted. Slowly but surely, Jonah 6 will bring up the rear through Art. And well, now it's down to just the robot. And Adder has done incredible things, but it might not be the round for it. Finds the first. Blast Pack helps him kind of reposition against Zeldris. Looks for the next. And well, the body shots would be enough. The robot could not sneak away. And the tallies, another one. Slap it in there for the win column of OR.
Yeah, I mean, again, these retakes from OR, I think every single round has been a diffuse win for the team. They're just playing into the same strat book over and over, and there's no real reason to change it up either. But I'm a big believer on Pearl. I'm sure you feel the same, Tanner, is that, like, fighting mid, I think, is so important as an attacker. And in all of LCQ, every time we've seen this map, there hasn't been a lot of challenge there for the attackers. There's KJ util there, sometimes Cypher if it's played, but for a lot of the time, it's just some sort of util being used and then just backing away and contesting a main site. But for Squirtle Squad, that hasn't worked so far. And this early haunt's going to give away a lot of information against Squirtle Squad's side, but they haven't even picked up the spike. This is one of their lesser eco rounds, but they do have full rifles, but no one's picked it up just yet, and yet they're still trying to pressure mid, but not too much. And OR, they're giving that space, they're giving him that respect over to Squirtle. It's only this alarm bot that's being the most outwardly challenging thing for the team. But there we go, it gets destroyed by the lineup from Okeanos. A good start. The Owl drone goes down to find information, but what Squirtle Squad are about to find out is that nobody's there. No one's on A or B link. And so they choose to go B instead.
And that was the first real Owl drone that got deep information, and unfortunately, nobody spotted, like you said. So once more out towards B they'll go. They're going to try their hand at this one. They've been unsuccessful in locking down and holding this B site the majority of the time, and Governor a bit too aggressive on his front foot. Gets sat down. Jonah's falling asleep inside B link, so we're traded back to Sentinels for both of these teams. Finding their way into the kill feed as that spike gets planted once more, but it's planted for sight, so they have to stay here and fight, and that's exactly what Okeanos does for the first. Nightfall comes out, Prowler now on the trail, and Okeanos wants to continue fighting as he's still marked up and he has 8 rounds left in the Vandal, and Weeded looks to play backstab. A player ahead or Squirtle Squad, and OR are on the prowl, make it 2, make it 3 as a 1v4 for Pure. He's got to go perfect. 2 players swinging him is a bit too much. Squirtle Squad find a way to get it done again.
And finally now we're seeing more consistency from Squirtle Squad. After the TAC timeout, things have been cleaned up a whole lot more. A lot more of that team synergy, a lot more of that pushing and then trading out factor. I mean, look, Governor's a Neon. You're kind of expected to go fast on the attack and hopefully just clear space similar to a Jet or a Raze. And yeah, if you die, it's not great, but at least you created space to hopefully get traded out. And we're seeing a lot more of that from Squirtle Squad now. They divided their team yet again outside of both B link and also A. We have to wait and see what kind of info they can find from mid this time around. Still rifles from the hands of OR, but a lot more of an aggressive face from B and A link. But again, just still respecting that alarm bot utility. No one's there just yet. It's a slow crawl back over to B. The only issue with this, though, is that single turret at the tippity top. Harmful and Governor are going to get spotted out by it unless that wall comes up now.
Yeah, this turret has been first point of contact here on the B side every time Nilly claims this stake as his own. He's also sitting on 1 nanoswarm. He only put 1 down. He's got another in the back pocket, so I'm going to be interested to see where that one ends up
and a lockdown
as this round plays out. Yeah, lockdown to play with this time. Well, Hunter's Fury is available, so the counter is there, so Nilly has to be perfect. 0 point goes out. The rest of the team here for Squirtle Squad, they're going to start taking the space, and the barrel was spotted. No, Nilly falls. Sentinel versus Sentinel, violence, and Harmful comes out on top. And this is win condition. A player ahead, Squirtle Squad wins this B site in the retake. Just as we've seen previously, we'll see if they can do it once more as the reveal is there. The recon bolt as well, and look at Governor on the back line, Keg.
Governor's there, Shorty in hand too. All the pressures are mounting though. Oh, but the shots, they don't miss. That's full coverage again for OR. They're reclaiming the site.
And Rolling Thunder gonna find the stuns. Look how far away Okeanos trying to play the ultimate. Zeldris gonna hop onto the spike. No, he gets off. Not even gonna get it halfway. Jonah puts the weapon away. Zeldris eventually sat down, and there's no time left. The spike will blow, and Pure, unfortunately, I think you're headed with it, buddy. It's a 4th round from Squirtle Squad and OR Esports. They've been figured out here, Keg.
It is such a small thing, Tanner, but what Harmful did that last round to initiate that spike to be into the ground safely was so smart. Think about the agents that are on the line for Squirtle Squad. They have a Cypher, they have a Neon, and they have an Astra. The one commonality all 3 of them have is that they have LOS denial utility. So the Cyber Cage for Harmful allows them to push up without being seen, contest someone like Nilly, who's been absolutely paramount for these retakes. Taking them down, it removes a gigantic pivotal limb from OR that they're not able to use anymore. But now they're up to a thrifty round. They have to try to contest here. Aggression versus aggression through the Cyber Cage, no less. Harmfuls, and even then, it's just a complete massacre. Everyone taken down for the B aggression. All that's left now is 2 for the final round.
Yeah, this one is surely a wash. No Hunter's Fury, so the lockdown could be huge for Nilly, but he's going to be on an island here for a second. Still waiting for his teammates to link up here. Finally, Pure will find their way into heaven. Oh man, and Harmful tried to make the play. Everybody backs away from it. The Nebulas go up and the spike, the tap on it for 1. Nobody detained as here come the zappy fingers. Instead, it's the zappy dart to get it done as Governor right into the face of the Killjoy burns him down.
Switching
7 to 5 is
look,
where we end. I think unexpectedly as this game started, OR looked like they were running away with it.
Yeah, it was a runaway success, but that tack timeout helped so much to kind of reconfine Squirtle Squad into attacking, using more of their utility rather than looking for gunfights. And I was really impressed with the second half of the first half there, where Squirtle Squad were able to make that big brain, big picture level adaptations that they desperately needed. The thing is, though, we haven't seen OR really play an attacking half in a long time, because the last time they were facing on Pearl, it was against Nearest Airport, and they were already pretty much in line to go for that 13-0 on their defense, and only lost just a few rounds for their attack to bring it to a 13-2. So we'll have to wait and see what the adjustment can be, starting off on their pistol round, but Squirtle Squad are looking to play this a lot more fiery than OR ever wanted to. But they're on the wrong side. They're going B. And the majority of OR, they're looking for that pressure on A, and yet not a single human being is there.
And Squirtle Squad, no. They can't be B. We're all the way up Link.
Oh,
we're all the way up B main, and all 5 here inside this mid window. Death ball strategy in the pistol. They're going to leave Nilly to play the lurk as the 4 still dance around inside their spawn, and that relay bolt not quite going to find a stun. Prowler out towards mid. Nilly going to give up the position and look to head elsewhere, but this time they want to hit the A site, Keg, and people are home.
Yeah, that was the entire Squirtle Squad. They're all there. They're all formed up with their sunglasses in tow. The gravity well stalls the Prowler, doesn't spot Harmful. But the 0 point goes down, and so much utility all at once that the 4's lava. And OR, they have a few tricks up their own sleeve. They eject from the site, and now they might be rotating over to B. Oh, but it's a race to the finish. Luckily for Squirtle Squad, they don't have to run as far, and they have Governor 2 to make these fast rotates. They're already back over on B before even OR can approach the site. But with 30 seconds left, there's nowhere else to rotate. It has to be a squad v squad battle yet again. Part 2.
Part 2. I mean, OR just looking lost here in this round, not quite sure how they want to play it. And as you said, the defenders are here. Flashback site, Spike going to get planted, 12 seconds on the clock. They want to try and delay. Squirtle Squad can find a few. It's Okeanos with a couple of his own. Make it 3 for the Sova. As Pure had the tallest task of them all, and they'll be able to jump onto the Spike and secure the round. Squirtle Squad, 1 away from tying us up.
Yeah, and it was a great read too, realizing that so much utility was used on A side, and OR couldn't find any spacing that, with the timer already going so low, rotating the B side seemed like the most viable option. And so Squirtle Squad, they just took a page out of OR's defensive playbook and just went as a full squad, which was good. But again, the number one thing I want to see right now for both these attacking teams, and we didn't really get to see a lot for Squirtle Squad, is I want to see more mid-pressure. Now, there's always people there just in case, so there's no anti-lurk, but still, that pressure is still amounting. No one in Art this round. Instead, it's a 3-stack outside of A for Squirtle Squad. They're looking to find that impact yet again. Good early lineup, the fault line there to slow them down, but Governor, oh, but he can't find the shot.
Weeded, however, can. And he goes fishing in the dark, completely blinded up after being on the angle, and will find the kill, the Stinger, proving why it's got some people talking about it on the timeline. But at the end of the day, a 3v3 still. Spike out towards A. Look at this.
Oh,
Pure
Oki
lurked all the way up here.
Pure's
He's
hiding.
got this B site.
Yeah, Pure's on the lurk right now. Spike's making his way over towards B, but there's that Cypher Cam still on tower. Pure's gonna go into far deep back lines, trying to pressure whatever Sentinel they can find. And if Pure's lucky, they might be able to find Harmful, pick up that Spectre, and have a great retake potential, but Governor's on the other side.
Oh, knife out. The timing so perfect. It just escaped him on the kill on Harmful, but he finds it onto Governor. And that's a weapon, just like you said. Spectre in hand once more. The timing get a little awkward as Harmful's crept all the way up. Fault line goes through. He's unaffected. And now Jonah in a tough spot. That's the spike down. But the thrifty round comes through, courtesy of eBay. And again, a round you can't buy. But some way, somehow, or get it done.
Yeah, a really good retake there from OR. I mean, a retake of the round, but overall, a really good round regardless. They've been able to find these more individual 1v1s to pressure Squirtle Squad. But it's these deep lurks that you have to be worried about. You can rotate as much as you want with Harmful's utility, but Pure has a linear piece of utility to avoid. You can still get around it so many different ways. And so lurking around behind the small donut, lurking your way up towards the back of B site, and taking someone on like Governor is something you have to keep an eye on for the rest of the game. The OR again, they're going to set themselves up for a B main attack. Governor's hiding in that small little corner towards the back of tower, but does have that first contact potential off of Adder too.
It's so hard to tuck there these days. Surely that gets cleared. Governor gives himself up. Out goes the Siege, and the Neon just has nowhere to go. After losing that Thrifty round in your anti-ego completely melts your economy. And on the opposite side for OR Esports, it looks so good. 3 rifles, a couple of SMGs. They've got more economy behind it. And this makes it a whole lot more potent of an anti-ego. Yeah, unfortunately, Harmful wasn't sneaking past anybody, romping and stomping. They lose one, but they take the round, and OR will find a 9.
They lose one. It's these flanks that are being read into now. OR, they're getting themselves into a pattern, and look at this. Nilly has that lockdown again. And if it's anything like the first half we saw, Nilly's lockdown might be countered by Okeanos with the Sova, a Hunter's Fury, but we'll have to wait and see how that goes underway and plays out. 9-6 right now, though. OR's 1 round away from bringing things to double digits on what's considered for them a flawless Pearl thus far in LCQ. So, outside of A again, no lurks. Oh no, there is a small lurk, but for the most part, it's a full barrel down A site. There are the relay bolts from Governor to help kind of stifle for the space, but that early util usage doesn't meet with anybody else. Instead, full mid-take, the first one we've seen so far for the series. Tripwire caught out by the Prowler. Adder's on the other side of this Nebula.
Oof, and Harmful lines up 2, finds a 3rd, and the spike as well, so they get the nest egg once more. Nilly gonna try and pick up the pieces, but he's about to be completely surrounded. A player just behind him working up towards mid. Harmful gets 4 on the round. Okeanos takes away the ace, but they're happy to have the round instead as the Sheets Flawless finds its way through the first of the game.
And when we had swapped sides, it's become a lot less utility dependent for both these teams. We're seeing a lot more early gunfights, a lot more pressure, and a lot more impact frags being found out. Remember, OR, almost every single one of their rounds that they had won was because of their group-wide retakes and their defuses. But Squirtle Squad, they're not giving that same opportunity. They're putting that aggressive pressure down. They're making sure the spike doesn't even get an opportunity to hit into the ground this time. But this time, there's been a lot more respect being given from Squirtle Squad. They haven't pushed up as much besides Harmful. They've been able to play around this small little tower a teeny tiny bit, but the Prowler there does spot him out when he's left on an island. He has to escape.
He escapes. He takes a little bit of damage on the way out, but he should still be A-okay to fight. He's got another cage to play around as well to slow down a push into the back halls. Here comes the lockdown. Hunter Shuri not available to deny, so it'll force the defenders away, but I like this from Squirtle Squad. They try and play forward as much as they can to see if anybody bites too early, and then they back away from the play. So with 1 player detained, paint shells will be enough to sit down Harmful, and that spike will get planted as Adder. Quick on the retake, quick on the refrag. Lear falls, so information now a little bit harder to find for this OR Esports squad as Rolling Thunder comes through and knocks up just about everybody, but nobody is safe to push through the Nebula smoke, so they'll back away and play out towards long once more.
Governor's trying to find those repositions, trying to hide around the wall, and there it is behind the tower. Good for yet another, no trades available. Everyone else alive for OR, forced to be in the back lines of B. Fighting down the gigantic lane, looking for those headshots. Zeldra's good for 3.
Give him some more. Give him some more. He's going for the peaks. There's just no time on the clock. Adder has to back away from it, save his rifle. We're robbed of the ace once more, but more than anything, OR are happy to have the round.
Did you see the amount of health that both Governor and Adder had at the end of that round? It was slivers. But the one benefit, though, of having a Neon for the defense is that you're allowed those repositions. And I will look at the highlight again. Governor so well about using the fast lane to make sure, like, okay, I can reposition myself like no other controller can. And that vertical line of sight, you can't account for all of that as an attacker, especially with all that chaos going on. So if Governor can tap into that more, use that utility to really find pressure, this could be a very, even more, possibly a good retake. But I want to put your, I want to see the operator coming out from Harmful now, by himself on B. Not allowed for the early util just yet, but Governor's facing a bad time, gets taken down by Pure.
And it's like, you can't blame him, right? Governor just trying to get something done here for the team. And I mean, he's maybe traded his life here for an ultimate that doesn't get a whole lot. This showstopper shouldn't be able to find too much. Blast pack up and over the top of the Nebula. Paint shells will follow, and Heaps of util dumped out here on this site to try and clear it out. Unbeknownst to OR Esports, there's nobody home except for Weeded, who plays inside the smoke. 2 players will meet him there, and unfortunately, he's been abdicated of his throne out towards Arced. You're gonna get that spike planted. No way. Adder goes crazy through the wall, and just like that, Squirtle squad almost make this one look doable. Tagged up as harmful, though he's marked, and that spike is yet to be planted. An operator in hand as he backs away on the other side of the Cosmic Divide.
The camera goes down. That'll be good to find some information. Despite that Cosmic Divide now gone, he's forced to push away so much. Harmful still has that operator. It's a dangerous investment, and he has no credits left. He has to make this count. A 1v2. Both 1v1s.
Where is everyone hiding?
Oh, things are about to get weird. Yep, things did get weird. I thought the operator would be turned shotgun there for a moment if he swung towards default, but not the case. Saw the vision. Unfortunately, Lear also saw the vision. Saw into the future just a bit.
Yeah, I was holding my breath there. I was really expecting maybe the operator to be kind of like this like fake, utility to be brought out. You get distracted by that as the attackers. You swing afterwards and maybe find the kill, but no, not quite the case this time. But OR now, they're at a very good point. They're 4 rounds ahead. They need 2 more to bring things to fracture. But again, Squirtle squad are forced to go for another eco round here. It's not going to be the best situation, but the Guardian from Adder could be a really good things to come, depending on how the retakes are being brought out. Harmful against put on an island. He's stuck with a Bucky on one of the longest ranges sites of the entire game. He's having to cover all this ground himself. No tripwires put down just yet. He's only relying on that spy cam to work with for that secondary contact, but even that's not going to help him in his spot. He just has to hide away. Wait for anyone to overextend, but at least it buys time for Squirtle squad to get back onto B site. All they have is a single floater over towards A. Everybody else is up and waiting with whatever weapons they can muster together, but still, only a Bucky. And even that's a dangerous spot there. He jumps, peeks, and already spotted out.
And, I mean, at this point, OR Esports still unsure as to what they're dealing with, right? They're hearing some classics. They don't know that Harmful has that Bucky. They're getting into the grinder, though. So much util tossed out this way. They've been completely split up, and Adder was able to collect the first with that. However, the defense, they're all here, Keg, and there's only 30 seconds for OR to play with.
Yeah, there's no time to rotate whatsoever. Even on a thrifty round, everyone's managed to stay alive for Squirtle squad. Cosmic Divide goes down. Okeanos finds the opening pick.
Yeah, just like that, thrifty for thrifty, quite possibly it seems that's the case. Somehow it's not awarded, they've been robbed, but Squirtle squad played that round so beautifully, and they're showing signs of life at the best possible time. They've got a round of wiggle room to play with, and now they've got the rifles to keep this train moving forward.
Yeah, now there's that self-doubt possibly in OR's mind. Like, okay, B-side didn't work for us off of a thrifty round. We have no ultimates to work with. And because of that round being so successful from Squirtle's side, now they have a null command and they have overdrive to work with. This overdrive, too, from Governor is going to be the most interesting part. We only see it in the last round of the first half. But playing in mid right now could be a great opportunity to go for these counter lurks. Governor's playing very aggressive, but he's forced to back off. The audio cue's already heard from OR side, pressuring towards A, and working together as well. As the name implies, a squad. They could be going for that same retake maneuver. But look at OR. They're not fully dedicated to A just yet. The Owl drone spots a few of the bullets from the enemy team, but even then, that doesn't give much info. There's no word on B side at all. Not a single member of Squirtle squad are there. But now slowly, possibly rotating over to mid site. It's a little bit of decision-making from OR. They have to really choose carefully here. If they make the wrong move, it'll be match point for OR side, but Squirtle squad, they stay here. Their buys are still not the best situation. They may go back to another thrifty. Oh man, the tensions are building. Okeanos still waiting. Heard the jump peak of one. It was Lear. And there it is. The spikes go down. I'm sorry, the nebulas go down. So much utility all at once, and OR still trying to make the entry, but there it is. We did good for the anchor positions.
And it's just so good. Sure, the weapons weren't great for OR Esports as we get ourselves another Sheets flawless here. This time going the way of Squirtle squad once more. Again, you're in a situation where you make no noise for so long, nothing happens, and now you're out of time. and you're just hoping that the defense isn't about to do this to you. We did having a pretty important round, although collecting eco frags, he's been a bit quieter in the kill feed and on the scoreboard, and now he's starting to get that that wind in his sails once more, and because of that, it's actually forced a timeout.
Yeah, and this timeout's gonna be very important. We're seeing two very similar styles of playing for both these teams. OR, they're waiting for the longest time. They haven't gone for as many rotates as Squirtle Squad did for their attack. But instead what they like to do is they like to throw utility out and wait. They wait and they wait and they wait. And sometimes they rotate, yes. But for the most part, they waited just like last round. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But A main is such a hard site to attack as an attacker, because the gravity wells go down, the nebulas pop up, you're going in almost completely blind with whatever, at best, maybe some reconnaissance utility that you have, but a lot of the time, it's hard to make those lineups, and it's hard to find effective utility off of, say, a recon bolt, because of how many corners these defenders can hide. But that's not going to stop OR. They've gone for their timeout. They've lost the last 2 rounds now, but there is still that lurk potential. And I'm looking at Nilly right now, deep inside of mid. Maybe looking to see if anyone pressures up there from this time, off of the timeout. We could see a readjustment from Squirtle Squad, and it looks like it's coming from Art's side. So this is a good read from Nilly. Let's see if it pays off. And so far, it's kind of paid off. It does get smoked off, though, that turret, I mean. But everybody else on Squirtle Squad are just pressured outside of A. They're waiting to see what the next move will be. Some floaters around mid, but again, OR, they put all this utility down. They're like, yeah, I don't really know. Maybe not going to go A. I think maybe mid could be the way to go. And a lot of these teams have been so hesitant to put anything towards mid, especially that spike. And Oki and company are ready to see if this is finally the change they've been looking for.
And you just have to assume that this is happening, right? Coming out of a timeout, what are they going to look to do? What are they changing up? They weren't hitting mid, and now they are, and it's a bloodbath out this way as the Haunt unfortunately conceals Lear for just enough for him to win out the fight, but he did as much as he could. 3 kills on the round. Now the rest is in your hands. Here, Pure VNS, prepare for trouble, make it double, and now it's just a single for Squirtle Squad, but unfortunately, not going to be enough as Harmful lives up to his name, finds his way into the kill feed, and Squirtle Squad, double digits, and they bring us within 1.
Oh, and look at the arsenal that Squirtle Squad have now. Hunter's Fury, No Command, Overdrive, all 3 round-defining ultimates to use here against OR. It's just a matter of timing them perfectly. But now just pressuring out OR has been working. They're just waiting to see what that next move will be, and that's been defining Pearl all of LCQ. And we can already see the pings going down across from mid into the back of A connector. This is a full squad push over to Art, and we haven't seen this yet. The most aggressive round OR have been able to bring. Sure, it's a thrifty round, yeah, but up close with the Stingers and 5 no less could be devastating. First ultimate comes down, that's the Hunter's Fury. So good to see, but does it find any impact? The answer is really no. Only Lear now down to 45 health.
Yeah, you said devastating, but I think that Hunter's Fury was actually what's devastating here in this round. Heaps of damage onto your team that's already not the best, right? They're worse for wear with the light shields, the Stingers, and now your initiators are a bit lower. No Command, gonna cut off the abilities for just a second. Lear falls asleep on the angle, 1 initiator down, make it 2 as the relay bolt will keep Zeldris at bay. Close angle being held. It just doesn't matter. Another Sheets Flawless. I believe the 4th for Squirtle Squad.
You use those ultimates and they help you regain control, but the problem is now you use that on a thrifty round. And in response, 11-11. There's only a few more rounds left, potentially in regulation, Tanner. When you have that Nightfall and you have Rolling Thunder to work with too, that's really good to clear out space. And maybe the Squirtle Squad are reading into this. Look at now the adaptation. They're stacking up outside of B, expecting the wide-range ultimates to maybe come through, but there is that safety net, too, of having Harmful, having all those tripwires all over side A. And, of course, having Okeanos there with those lineups of the recon bolt, it's going to help out quite a bit, too. Early fault line comes by and starts the rotates over from Squirtle Squad from B to A site. But oftentimes when OR do this, they don't pressure the site, but that lockdown, it tells a very different story. All 3 stars coming down at once. One surely for Nebula, another for a gravity wall, but what could the 3rd be? It's a Nova Pulse, timing it too late.
And it's all for naught. they're just walking into the meat grinder, right? There's one avenue that they're trying to take out through main, and they just get spammed out. The lockdown means absolutely nothing because they can play the long angles. Finally, Zell just trying to get something done for his team, but he goes up and Skeet shooting goes at her as he's ripped out of the sky. 3 kills for the bot. And Squirtle Squad have flipped this map on its head and now push us to the last round of regulation on their map point.
Good lord. I mean, think about where we came from. This was such a dominant map in the first half for OR's favor, but now Squirtle Squad come by and they look like a completely different team for their defense. They've been able to read where these pushes are coming from almost every single round, even the offhand ones, such as the Thrifty round. They've been able to just collapse upon OR, and for that team right now, if they want to maintain their flawless win streak on this map, they have to bring it to overtime. And it's a squad v squad, potential battle again outside of B. All of OR grouped up together, looking to push past this Nebula off of the Prowler. Flashpoints are out yet, there's no presence except for Harmful's operator. He misses the first shot, he's forced to back off. No, it did connect. Zeldris gets taken down through the wall, the Cosmic Divide in return. There's no space for Squirtle Squad on this site.
My camera is dead.
Oh my god, Harmful does it again, and he cuts his I want to say cuts his losses, but he cuts his dubs. He says, I'm done peeking with this thing. I'm going to swap over to the Vandal, and now it's a rifle you have to worry about in these back halls. Lear going to get that spike planted, but again, for what? As Weeded finds another, it's only 2 remaining. Nilly on the swing, and Pure could not stay alive long enough. This was the map that OR Esports needed to win, and Squirtle Squad, they do it again. They dig deep, they battle back, and they steal away the map.
It's been a battle of the flawless maps, at least thus far, and, well, that's no longer the case. I mean, OR have looked so good the entirety of this year defending on Pearl, but the attacking side was a different story. A lot of the time, we're seeing the same linear pushes, and after a while, that can work in the beginning, but these defensive teams, Squirtle Squad, a perfect example, great on the counter adaptation, lining themselves up more perfectly, taking more confidence fights, and the best way to describe that, a perfect 3K from Harmful in this replay clip. But I'm thinking about the final op shots that we had seen in that last round, just swinging past the Cosmic Divide. You can't ask for a riskier play from an opping defensive Cypher, and still made it work.
Still made it work. And just one of those, just let him cook, right? It was a let him cook moment in Harmful. Chef of the year for the play that he just pulled off at the end. I am a little sad to see that. I think OR Esports, they looked a little lost as we get a little replay there. So hits the first shot, a leg shot, hits the dart from his camera, and then spots and kills Zeldris behind the box, which means taking this B-site gets a whole lot harder because you don't have your Rays to be there. And again, OR Esports, they just looked a little lost on the attacking side. I'm a little sad at at the start. They were doing so much with Pure and just allowing him to kind of breathe and play through the map and play that lurk, but then they got away from it and they started moving a little too fast, and Pure wasn't able to get things started on the opposite side of the map. That's a tough one, but that is the Squirtle Squad way. This is the team of vibes. They took a timeout when it wasn't looking great, and they all started coming back, and they do so perfectly, and now they're going into their map pick here in a second, Keg, and it looks... I said 3 maps, but I don't know anymore, man. I don't know anymore.
Yeah, I mean, look, in the back of our heads, some of us were thinking maybe 2-0, maybe a map 3, but I mean, the biggest thing is that both these teams can be real coin flips. And when we go into a series and we can see the map picks, and it's like, oh, both of these first 2 maps are flawless for each team respectively. It's like, okay, this has to be the prime time for some sort of upset, but it is what it is, right? But Tanner, I do have something special for you, a special little gift.
Okay.
So I want to thank you. I want to thank the production, and I also want to thank Satex for being a partner for this event. And if you often feel that you're losing control of your gaming controller thumbsticks, Satex thumbstick grips give you an unprecedented grip and an increased radius for increased accuracy. And we saw how accurate that op shot was from Harmful. Good lord. Available in the low rise, medium rise, and high rise, it all fits easily into your PS4, PS5, Nintendo, Switch Pro, and Xbox. Available at www.amazon.com/Satex. But with that being said, we still have a few more maps to go, and we don't want to waste any more time. So we're going to get things set up in this small little break, and we'll see you then.
To some, this is nothing more than cardboard and ink. But to those who know, these are precious metals. rare gems. A full set it took 15 years to complete. Low-pop rookies, hypnotizing hollows. One of only a handful in the universe. Or an heirloom to look after for the next generation. No matter what you collect, raw or graded, to have and to hold, or to crush your opponents with, what matters is that it's real. Introducing eBay's Authenticity Guarantee for trading cards. Our third-party authenticators inspect every detail of your card and compare it to the listing to make sure it's the real deal or no deal, because we know just how much your collection means to you.
Finally, you can stay in control of your thumbsticks. Natural evolution gave the gecko its amazingly strong grip. Our multi-patented SetX technology duplicates the microstructured fibers on a gecko's foot for a revolutionary new way to get a grip on game controller thumbsticks. Like a gecko's foot, the thousands of microstructures on each SetX anti-slip thumbstick grip provide high friction to the skin surface for a secure, comfortable grip, even when sweaty, giving you a competitive advantage. Stay in control with the secure and comfortable grip of SetX thumbstick grips. Inspired by nature, perfected by science.
The game starts long before the game starts. You get your gear right, your keyboard, your controller, your controller's controllers, and the keys to your keyboard. Because warm hands are faster hands. Gain the upper hand and power up your pregame warm-up with Zippo hand warmers.
Welcome back to the Valorant Challengers Last Chance Qualifier, where one of these two teams, Squirtle Squad and or Esports, are going to find themselves sitting comfy as part of the 12 teams working their way through the next few months in our circuit, fighting towards Ascension. We're one map in. I'm still Tanner Metro. I'm still joined by Keg. And that map, I don't think went the way that we were expecting. It was flawless for OR Esports going into today, and now they've got a big #1 in that L column.
Absolutely. We were kind of baited a little bit because OR, they had such a dominant beginning for Pearl, and then suddenly a light switch just went off. And Squirtle Squad were able to bring it back so effectively well, and we were starting to get to the point where there were odd plays coming out. It was close in terms of the scoreline, but when you have someone like Harmful Cypher opping past Astro's ultimate into just a double kill, I mean, what can we really expect from there? But I do have bad news, Tanner.
Yes.
For a lot of our fans that love OR, we were expecting to maybe see them kind of win out on their 10th time in a row for LCQ for Pearl. It didn't happen. So now we're not only going to a map that's been flawlessly dominant for Squirtle Squad, this, up until that Pearl loss, was the only map in LCQ, top 32, that OR has lost. So things are looking a little dire for the team.
Yeah, there's some rain clouds coming in. It's looking a little dark. It's looking a little grim. Let's go ahead and actually take a peek at how that first map, if you guys missed it, played out. We've got the stats for you guys to see. A 13-11, a comeback victory in Squirtle Squad fashion. 14 first kills, and it's surprising the way that the map started. Governor was getting a little silly wonky with it and dying a lot, but the rest of the team from that point on really started to come back and collect their thoughts, collect themselves. And it was what? It was a timeout early in the game that found us, I believe, 7-5 at the half. OR Esports, for a second, they find that thrifty after losing the pistol in the second half. And you think, okay, OR are finally reeling it back in. This is why the map is so good for them. But Squirtle Squad just continued to find ways to, not necessarily exploit because they were playing defense, but they were just able to read this relatively one-dimensional attack coming from OR Esports.
Yeah, I gotta say though, for the First Bloods, I'm really surprised Squirtle Squad have so many. A lot of the time, Squirtle Squad, they set themselves up to have Weeded be that opening pick factor, but from what I could tell, very rarely was he actually involved in the opening fights. But that being said though, MVP of that match, absolutely in my mind goes the Harmful.
Yeah.
That swing at the very end, he did a bunch of tiny little nuanced plays too. We highlighted when he was on the attacking side, he went for the Cyber Cage on top of all the other line of sight denial utility and pressured out Nillies to fall. And when you remove a Sentinel in something like LCQ, where a lot of teams are really relying on that utility to reclaim that space or even just hold on to it, taking down the most pivotal factor of your defensive team really goes to show how Harmful is just a team player and really wants to ensure that he can set up the rest of his team for success in the post plan.
Yeah, and on the opposite side, Lear had a really strong start on defense, was kind of the only player that was comfortable or was kind of assigned for Esports to play on the site and look to fight for that space and not give it up for free. And he was doing so incredibly successfully. But on the attacking side, again, things got a little weird, and just Lear couldn't find kind of their spot in this this machine. They couldn't find the cog that they were supposed to be in this machine. And although finishing here at the MVP for Esports, they fall just a bit short. But as we said, that's only map number 1. It was flawless for Esports going into it. Now they have a 1 in the L column, unfortunately. And we move forward towards another flawless map, but this one of Squirtle Squad. I just have to say, I'm sorry. I did not believe in the Sova on Pearl. I didn't believe in the Sova at all. That was in the back of my mind the entire time. I'm thinking, I don't know why they're trying to make this work. But hey, I'm a believer now. Okeanos, I'm a believer now. They don't get as weird on Fracture. Fortunately, things are going to be relatively default. But I've been made a believer from the Sova Pearl. I don't want to see it in my ranked games, though. Please.
No,
Please.
the problem is if you see Sova on Pearl in your ranked games, you can have a lineup Larry everywhere. Because the big benefit, the big benefit of having Sova there, and we saw it a few times from Okeanos, was that the shock darts, you can remove a lot of the pre-placed utilities that oftentimes would be just completely uncontested. So bringing someone like Killjoy, having those alarm bots, it can be really good until you have a Sova on the enemy team. That's not so good.
Yeah, but I guess also it could be playing into that direct counter of you need an ultimate now to kill the Killjoy ultimate, the lockdown.
True. And
Sova does so easily. And if you're looking at, Sova or Brimstone and what you're going to play on Pearl, you're probably not going to play the Brimstone. So I guess the Sova ultimately does make sense when you're looking at that direct counter. And then obviously Okeanos made it look good. But we head out towards Fracture, where we will be seeing the Brimstone. I'm wondering what type of role swaps we're going to see. I think moving from Pearl into Fracture, and you mentioned it kind of coming into the day, this Squirtle Squad team, they are trying to be a bit more structured, where they're not necessarily having Harmful play the Jet on this map and the Cypher on the next one. I think they are going to give, Governor that duelist role, allow him to continue to play something that's going to get him on the site. Harmful still going to be playing that Cypher, allowed to play that Lurky style. I've really been enjoying the Cypher on both Breeze nowadays and on Fracture. I'm sad that Breeze is going away. So it'll be interesting to see how Harmful kind of manages and pilots this map, as we've got our agent select ready for you guys to take a peek at who we will be seeing on this one. And again, this is the pick of Squirtle Squad, and they're just around the corner from closing us out 2-0 and qualifying for the Challenger Circuit.
And look, if we were talking about Nilly and Harmful so much for the first map, we really need to look at Pure and Weeded going into this one. Controller play on this map is everything. And Weeded, the last few times we've seen them play on Fracture, there was a game where they got like a double ace. 2 back-to-back pretty much. They did phenomenal with it. And that was Weeded on a Brimstone last time. Luckily, we get to see that return again, and it's a mirror mode composition. Nothing really too wild going on. If anything, the big takeaway for today, Tanner, I think, is that Governor's Neon's probably going to be the wildest thing we get to see.
Yeah, I'm interested to see, because Raze is an agent that you can bring into the Pearl as well. And I'm wondering, like, in way of comfortability, if Governor's comfortable on the Raze here on Fracture, why not play it, just to have consistency. Raze on Pearl, you're working on your blast packs, you're making it work. You do it again on Fracture, and it sounds like the game is ready, so we can jump on into it. Squirtle Squad 1 map ahead as they go into Fracture, where in January alone, this Squirtle Squad team is 9-0, and we'll see if they're gets to go as they start on the attacking side. A good way to really keep that momentum from the previous map moving forward.
I see what you did there.
I don't know what I did there.
Not
So
in-
if you
Oh.
saw it, then I appreciate you, because I don't even know what I did there.
All good, all good. Now, I do have a secret to tell you, Tanner. This is my favorite map in the game to cast, and you're about to see why. Look at how many lanes there is to have opportunities for both attack and defense. A gigantic platoon outside of A leads to a fast execution, but the rest of OR, they have to clean up the mess. They have to rotate all the way around the entirety of the map, and they might be able to catch out Harmful. But Nilly, in spawn, there for information, but look at this. The amount of pressure outside of A mains could be mounting soon.
Get very quick here. Flashpoint. Gonna blind up the Boombot, and only the Boombot is harmful. Plays around the cage, but the paint shells will secure the kill. Low HP on Okeanos, but he still finds his one before falling. Unfortunately, at this point, you cannot afford one-for-one trades as Weeded collects another for himself. The last one standing is said Weeded, said controller that you mentioned at the start of it all. He's finding the heads, the frags behind it, but there's too many defenders to worry about. And Jonah 6, safe to defuse the pistol for Esports.
I cannot emphasize this enough. If Weeded is the last one alive against you, you do not want to take 1v1s against him. Look at this replay again if we get to it. Weeded, right there, 1v1, essentially, but then immediately the trade from Jonah's there. Really good to see, because a lot of the time, Weeded will take advantage of the fact that people will take that crunched up sight and try to pressure from multiple angles, and you can sight out your line of sight so well to make sure trading is not an option. That's what allows him to get those aces on this map specifically. But once again, Satellite's gonna be the way to go. Everyone except Harmful on this slow descent as Harmful tries to find the lurk. He sets up the spy cam right outside the door. 0 Point does detect his presence though, but nobody rotates and reacts off of it. OR still staying on B side, same execution yet again, but Nilly's a little bit more pressure towards the back of Black Box, maybe for the Sky Smokes to go down to find a little bit of an earlier kill, maybe.
Spike planted.
Yeah, I mean, from Pearl to Fracture, OR so comfortable and just looking to play this retake. Obviously, they should know, hearing some of those stingers, that it is a force buy coming through. Boombot for Boombot. It's pure VNS. Okay, gonna be backed away. Good aftershock to stall this push into main. Flash comes through, and unfortunately for OR Esports, this lesser buy is starting to do damage, but Governor, the only one who remains, as he plays inside A main. It's low HP on both. Spike not planted here for the Rays, and he has no utility to get Lear off, and Lear is just going to stick it to secure the round. And sure, Governor collects the frag, but the bag the way of OR.
What just happened? Lear... Jonah was just able to completely get that defuse for free. Governor was right there, and yet should have been able to hear the spike diffuse sound, so a little curious to see what the thought process was there, but really good round from OR, a great start for the defense yet again. But remember, they had a really good start for Pearl too, and it squandered away once Squirtle Squad started adapting around towards the end of the first half and well into the second. This time though, the adaptation comes from Squirtle Squad's side. Sky Smoke goes down, and they're giving complete respect to it. No one from the defense is pushing up though, yet everyone's still hiding away. No one's going to the underbelly either, but Pure's ready just in case, and there it is, the call's been made to go for the great escape. Harmful's already on the other side, making sure that's clear for the rest of the Squirtle Squad guild to get by. Jonah drops and makes a sound.
Does make a sound. As Jonah falls, good shot from Harmful. He's collected himself a rifle, and that camera spotted players coming from the top side of the map, so they know that this rotation should be coming through. The crunches here. The Bulldog takes a bite out of one, but only barks at the next, as Weeded survives with 2 HP, but he's healthy enough to get that orbital strike off and to try and buy some time for the team, as Zell just wants to push through Canteen. He's stalled for now. Nilly gets the fall damage frag onto one, and Squirtle Squad have done it. They muster up a very minor buy after losing their force, and they find their first round.
And look at the force, that wasn't even full rifles that we expect to see. That was Stingers, Inspectors, everything pretty much but that singular Vandal into the round. But now Vandals are starting to be acquired. There's still that Stinger from We Did and the Spectre from Okeano, sure. But what an important round to finally pressure B and see what it's like over there. And despite all that utility that had gone down, still was able to take the site relatively free. But into the next round, we do see a much more spread out OR. They're pressuring A yet again to see where the squad for the attackers could be, but this time they haven't made an appearance yet. They expect that Sky Smoke to go down right where Okeanos is, but there's no appearance this time. A lot more of that utility set up from Nilly, but he's over on A site, so if the 0 point goes down, those tripwires stay up. The orb has been picked up. It does make a sound. Everyone from Squirtle Squad, though, or at least half the squad, have gone underbelly to try to crunch the site. And that includes the spike carrier as well. That tripwire is going to give away the entire plot, though, if it gets destroyed. But luckily, though, there are blast packs that Governor could use. But he opts not to. He destroys it first, goes for the blast pack, and does something unique entirely to Governor. He takes canteen control rather than site control.
But he takes a lot of damage doing it. Jonah. Oh, Jonah's got to be tricky. He does survive. Looks to escape. Ooh, good shots from Okeanos. Long-range battle onto Nilly, and the Spectre comes out on top. And 5 stand here for Squirtle Squad, and as you said, glasses in tow. And for Lear and Zeldris, not a whole lot you could hope for with a couple of classics. Paint shells available. Those going to be tossed on out. Not much to be found. And, well, Squirtle Squad has been the only team thus far that continues to find these sheets flawless, and they do so to tie us up at 2.
And I gotta say, again, Governor's entry on B is entirely unique into himself. No other raise that you will ever see in LCQ has been able to blast back directly into Canteen. Take Wardell, for instance. They would go into the back of Arcade, use the blast packs to go to top of tower. But for Squirtle Squad, there's never really that emphasis to take tower control on B, rather just go for the extremities, such as Canteen, such as where the spawn for the defenders are, and even the site proper, but not tower. Bit of an adjustment here. 0 point goes down, doesn't spot anybody Canteen. But Governor's not there either for the B main attack. The spike is there, but Governor isn't, so it's going to be a slower entry. Farming orbs for We Did. Is he close to the orbital strike? He's over halfway there. Satellite, though, is a different story. Harmful Governor there, trying to find some space. They don't know about the 2 defenders in A lobby. That's going to be Jonah and Zeldris sitting there waiting, not knowing that they're about to be crunched. It's a fake rolling thunder as Governor makes his way on the A.
And the problem is, for Esports, they do this every time. They're so patient in their defense. They don't bite on anything, and they're able to punish this half-fledged attack onto this A site. Squirtle Squad not expecting the defense to be here. They use the ult on the opposite direction, and Zeldris has himself around. Welcome back to the server, buddy. That's exactly what Esports needed.
Oh, you can't do my boy Zeldris dirty like that. He has done really well so far, but that 4K was exceptional. Just hiding away, and look at the stakes of the minimap here going into the replay. Effectively speaking, Zeldris is crunched at every possible angle, but is able to divide out the enemy team. Again, taking what seems like those 1v1s and dismantling Squirtle Squad on a very aggressive entry. So what's the adjustment here for Squirtle Squad? We had seen a great B-side attack 2 rounds ago, and Governor's there this time to maybe lead the charge, but again, those tripwires go down. You have Harmful at the top of the map there with that spy cam. This is something we've been seeing for every attacking round for pretty much every team in LCQ. But Zeldris is there, a lone wolf on A lobby, waiting for anyone to push up past that smoke.
Zeldris has to get out of dodge. No way. The movement perfect from Zeldris. He's also going to toss the paint shells behind him to slow things down. Another Sky Smoke to make it a bit more difficult for Squirtle Squad to try and take the site, but they push right through it. And there's no defender to slow them down. Inside the Sky Smoke goes the fragment, but an orbital strike, the Rolling Thunder. Stunned up is nobody and taken down is nobody until Zeldris and Lear have something to say about it. A few steps forward, they find themselves on the site, and 3 heads collected as Okeanos and Governor now trying to pick up the pieces. Spike in hand, 40 seconds to play with, and they'll look to get this one planted.
Spike
A 2v4. It's a rough one. Incendiary, a 0 point. Information aplenty, and for Esports, they're going to make sure they can secure this round using everything in their arsenal to do so. Make sure that there's no post-plant utility, but Okeanos is doing Okie things, and he's got himself the eBay clutch.
A 3-3 scoreline now. And imagine a reality. Some sort of weird, far away, alternate reality there, where not only would the Rolling Thunder capture so many people that are attacking, right? From Lear, imagine then that Rolling Thunder pushed everybody on Squirtle Squad into the orbital strike from Pure. So Lear and Pure's ults working together could have caused so much damage, but it just came out a second too early. Squirtle Squad, though, are going to go for a timeout. They just won that round by the skin of their teeth, and it came so close. But it's not consistent yet. It's still back and forth for both teams, round after round. And unlike Pearl, where a lot of it was contingent on utility and getting that diffuse down for OR's defense, a lot of this round win condition is from just pure gunfights alone. And Squirtle Squad, more often than not, do have the advantage there. But OR, they have that ability, that uncanny ability too, for playing together so long, where they can play off of each other like almost no team we've seen in LCQ. So it's a matter of balancing those two together and see what positioning can be better for either one of these teams in the post-plan, Tanner. And, you know, 3-3, it's a very apt way to tell it's an even game.
Yeah, a very even game. Okeanos and Governor leading that scoreboard for Squirtle Squad. That timeout, sure, there's probably a lot of talk about as we go into round number 7, but that timeout screams Asuna timeout to me. It screams Okeanos just went absolutely huge, and in order to keep moving forward like that, maybe needs a second to just breathe after finding one of the most important clutches that they could have found this early in the game, especially because it resets that economy and it starts to get that momentum moving forward. We were 6 rounds into this one and unsure as to how that last round is about to play out, and we're expecting Squirtle Squad to really push ahead or pull ahead at some point, and Okeanos was the key tool in that last one to make sure that they can still do that and they don't give up their map pick. Still a lot of game left. As once more they play the underbelly, nice and slow. Is Squirtle Squad in this, and all eyes on Governor and Adder here as they're about to make some contact. Defenders just around the corner, and these are not the weapons you want to have to try and take these fights as they creep on closer. A Sheriff shot, that goes wide. The Stinger gets absolutely nothing. Governor doesn't even need the showstopper here. He blast packs his way onto the site, and it's all theirs as Lear's the next to fall.
No, he's the last one alive. The only player on OR with a full rifle into this round. He's forced to go for a save. Everyone else on those small little lurks, they almost found so much impact, but it just wasn't enough. Governor got that beautiful double kill there. And Nilly's probably in the most safest spot you can humanly be on this map. And this Phantom, it needs to carry over into the next round. If Squirtle Squad go for the hunt and take down Nilly, yeah, everyone will be on a similar eco. But he was the only one to buy up here. And it looks like he may have been spotted. Good for one. And he's just running away. He's a man on a mission. He's on the run now. We'll catch you, Nilly! But they won't. It's another round win for Squirtle Squad. Breaking the tie and now taking the lead. Remember, this was a game where OR took the first 2 rounds in their favor. But again, once the rifles start going to the hands of Squirtle Squad, those adaptations at the same exact time, it's a very different story. And OR, they relied a lot on their defensive prowess for the first map, but right now, they're not as fortunate. They have to think of an adaptation soon. And that was after attack timeout 2 from Squirtle Squad.
Yeah, now the Ducks are in the pond. Okeanos 1 away from his ultimate, but just about 5. Available here for this team, Zeldris postured aggressively here in Dish. And this is not going to be a warm welcome. We'll see how much Zeldris can get away with. Good tag, good stun. Here comes the rocket. Spins around, will find the first, drops onto 3 more. Unfortunately, it's 1 and done as Nilly can't sneak away. Adder makes quick work of the Cypher as the cage will stall for now, but the defense dwindled down to 3. With Okeanos and Weeded on the attacking side bit worse for wear. Creeping on up is Harmful. He's gonna be met by Lear. Sky Smoke, how much does it mean? Lear sneaks away. Orbital Strike opens up the A site. Squirtle Squad should be allowed to plant and play the post.
Oh, but this post plant already down a body. They do bring it back to a 3v3 thanks to the hands of Jonah, but everyone's locked into sight from Squirtle Squad's side. There is one that was able to get away with Harmful on the doors. We didn't know. Needed to be that distraction for Harmful to make sure he could be very effective here. So little HP left for those on the defense, but Pure and Jonah make sure for 2. Harmful's the last one alive in a 1v3.
We've seen this before. Unfortunately, it was Oki alive to win the 1v3. This time for Squirtle Squad. Harmful not quite enough, so we're knotted up once more. This time at 4. Nor Esports continue to show us the strength of their post plant and the strength of their teamwork.
And you mentioned it yourself, that was a retake where OR only had 3 members alive. Yeah, Governor went down for Squirtle Squad in the beginning, but the coordination that we had seen here, the orbital strike to remove the position from Lear, Jonah there firing so much and finding impact through the cyber cages. And again, it came down to how well coordinated OR can be, and despite how many losses they had suffered before even the LCQ happened, they're not willing to give up just yet. And now it's back over to B site. Governor loves to play this aggressively, but so does Zeldris. Oh, he got shut down immediately.
Yeah, things you hate to see. Is Governor gonna try his hand with the showstopper? Harmful finds another, and I mean, sure, you're a Squirtle Squad fan, you're saying things are looking great. 2 kills right off the rip, we get the spike planted, but 1 stolen right back. And a 3vx situation, and we've seen how strong OR can be in these. Pure VNS has that orbital strike available, and this retake is all it's possible.
Jonah has no idea about Adder's position.
Privy to it, very privy to it. The swing from Heaven, Harmful falls. Adder forced out from the Aftershock, or the fragment, excuse me. Aftershock to try and delay on the plant. They also have the Rolling Thunder. It looks like Nilly gonna try and roll him down. Out goes the orbital strike. They're expecting somebody to be playing post-plant. There goes the Rolling Thunder. Fault line behind it. A flash to follow, and Okeanos is looking to do it again. No time on the clock. That spike should blow. Jonah awarded the kills, but they'll both die on the way out. And once more, an eBay clutch for Okeanos.
Through the skin of their teeth again, Tanner. It comes so close every time, but OR just so a little too slow for the defuse. But Squirtle Squad, there's no reason for them not to keep pressuring B. They're hydro-cannoning their way onto the site like it's nobody's business. And so far, we haven't really seen OR being able to effectively use that Cypher utility to stop the pushes from either A or B. OR's gonna go for a timeout here. One big adjustment that I'm expecting to see is maybe for Nilly to play his tripwires a little bit more outwards, to purposely catch out more members for Squirtle Squad in the beginning. For the most part, a lot of these defensive tripwires are set up for in case a player overextends for the attack, or directly on where they think the default plant could be. But those trips aren't really being detected consistently, and with the fact that Squirtle Squad, or really nobody here, is going for these consistent lurks either, there's no real reason for them not to be hit directly onto a site. So I'm curious after this timeout to see what the adjustments will be, but I'm mostly focusing on where Nilly's utility is going to be placed into this next round. And look, a lot of it has to do with the guesswork to see where Squirtle Squad wants to push next. But if they keep getting these consistent rounds on B, I'm really hoping OR picks up into that fact, but maybe not. Nilly has all those tripwires, yeah, outwardly more so, but that's on A site, and I'm not really expecting an A push here, Tanner.
Now, I will say, however, I think it's the best adaptation. This round, it's a stinker for OR Esports. It's not great, but
yeah.
I think the adaptation that needed to be made is they're so patient on rotating, and Squirtle Squad are just able to death ball, and 5 is stronger than 3, or 5 is stronger than 2, right? Because the rotations are coming so late from OR Esports, Squirtle Squad just play strength in numbers, and they've been winning the rounds in doing so, in taking the site and then holding the site. So I would love to see, even in these buy rounds moving forward, put Nilly on an island. Let Nilly play far away, get some information, and because they've been deathballing, if Nilly gets that information, now let's play that rotate.
Oh, but opening strike comes down. Nilly, like you said, still on an island here. The first big adjustment we've seen from OR. But everybody else on OR, they're at so little weaponry, but they're trying to play in numbers. Up on the top of tower, Cyber Cage goes down. The Sky Smoke helps Harmful for the great escape. And here's where Nilly's utility comes and shines. He's hiding away, playing for information, but that tripwire, again, that should give everything away. Flash goes down. They're not expecting one to be there. It does get destroyed, but Governor, it's stalling him for time, and they're expecting that push to come in.
Okay, Orbital Strike, it forces a few players forward. Nilly able to snag one with the classic, but I don't think we're expecting a whole lot more from the rest of this team, given what they bring into this. Two Sheriffs. Oh, make it one Sheriff. As another through the smoke. A near flawless round. Okeanos the only to fall, and Squirtle Squad happy to grow their lead by 2.
All right, and now let's see if Nilly puts that utility again on an island. And he's rotating over to B. I'm really liking this already, but let's see where those tripwires go down. That's one for arcade control, and we haven't really seen Squirtle Squad go that far deep into the site. They mostly just take control of B site proper and Canteen, and really late into the rounds, if they have the ability to control it, they do go tower, but for a lot of the time, someone in the position such as Jonah, they're relatively safe for the majority of the round. It's more so that pressure in Arcane that they would have to worry about, and that's why Jonah's holding out for that position at the top of the sniper's tower, but nobody's there. Said Zeldris might be facing the entirety of Squirtle Squad.
Oh, things are about to get very weird as Adder collects 2 of his own dispatches of Pure and Zeldris. Governor also finding his way into the kill feed. Now Jonah 6 and Nilly on an island in a situation 2v4. You just gotta save.
Yeah.
Here.
With only 2 left alive, and already look at the credits. Both of them together at the 400. You gotta keep those rifles. Because if you don't save this round, you're gonna be pushed into a really bad habit of force buying, then thrifty, then force buying, then thrifty. And that's how you start losing those rounds. Luckily for them, though, they don't have to worry too much about that, considering it's round 11, but with only 1 round left, you don't want to end this on a save either. Right now, OR, they had a dominant defense for Pearl, but this time, not so much. And Squirtle Squad, they've guaranteed themselves yet another round, and at this point, OR, they have to do whatever they can to bring it to a 7-5 half. Whew. But I gotta say, the execute factors that we're seeing for Squirtle Squad have been consistent, but different almost every single round. You can never tell what's a strat and what's like a protocol because they go for the same big brain plays where they have, okay, let's push satellite. Okay, next round, let's go B main. Or let's crunch out A from 2 different angles. So there are set strats, but OR have been having a hard time reading it. Their rotates, like you said, have been on the slower side, but they're playing patiently for those retakes. Fortunately, that strat doesn't work quite as well on Fracture, but prove us differently. Nilly's left on an island again, tripwires to help out the rest of OR. You're able to force by a little bit there for this final round. Bulldog in hand, farming Orbs for Lear, leaves him with the Rolling Thunder. But immediately, fast entry on the A side's good when Nilly's hiding away, waiting for the rest of his team, but a Harmful on the anti-lurk. It's Jonah to find the trade instead at the cost of Pure.
Spike planted.
And this is a great read and response. Squirtle Squad, they know how many times this happened where they try and fight back through A main, that being for Esports. After shock into the close corner. Jonah a little bit worse for wear. Paint shells come out, Rolling Thunder to fight for A main, and they blast back forward, but Zeldris gets sat down. Jonah fortunately able to battle back for 3 on the round to a 70 HP. He wants some more as he tosses out the fragment. A few more angles to worry about here in the 2v2, but Okeanos just before the flash will find the frag. Weeded, the last one standing, and he does secure the round for Squirtle Squad. 8-4 at the half. And our Esports, they gotta show us something. This pistol is so important.
It really is. It's a series-defining pistol round that we're going to into the second half. And again, if OR can't convert this, it might be over. You're looking at a big economic game right now for OR. They have to be able to convert this out. But swapping sides, the defense for OR usually is really slow. We've been seeing that on a variety of maps they've been playing in LCQ. They tried to ramp up the speed after the attack timeout, but by then we had seen very aggressive lurks, such as, Harmful in that last round, seeing that the entirety of OR were rotating over from the flank, but it was read into too well. 4-8, Squirtle Squad now doubling the rounds of OR. We'll have to see an aggressive maneuver just as fast as what Governor was able to achieve with those blast packs. All the eyes right now should be on Zeldris for this opening play. Does have the spike in their possession. It's a risky maneuver. But luckily, though, Squirtle Squad, they don't have much of a presence on B. It's all on the outer edges. The Sky Smoke's blind just about everybody, but Weedid's there for the great anchor. Let's wait and see how this goes. A spike plant, a little unorthodox, right on green box. Doesn't get hit by the fall line, but everyone backs out immediately.
And I mean, this is a very safe plant, right? You can play from main to get this spike diffused, and you can also have that player play underneath. As Jonah finds a couple through the Sky Smokes, Adder and Weedy get a bit too aggressive. They walk right down the shots, and it's the meat grinder here in the pistol, as Or will find themselves their first sheets flawless.
And you're right, it was such a safe play. Even the smokes going down on B main just assisted OR in that retake, or the post play, I'm sorry. Just making sure those Sky Smokes go down, you can just blindly fire through that entire funnel, because there's not really many other places you'll go besides the spike. So a really good start for OR there. Like we said, a desperately needed round. I'm curious to see what the adaptation for Squirtle Squad will be. They're opting to go for a full save here. They do buy full utility, minus Adder, but they're trying to save as much economy as they humanly can and go for what you've been able to dub here, Tanner, the Death Ball and farming orbs.
The death ball works sometimes.
It does. We saw a lot of those death balls on Pearl, but that was a map where it wasn't really as effective. And a lot of the time was just that both teams on their defense trying to do it weren't really able to capitalize on what site the attackers were going for. But OR is doing something differently. This is something that Squirtle Squad did not do, and that was put a lot of pressure on Arcade in the early rounds. Tower could be a big point of contention here, and Okeanos is already ready with the strafe shots. But it's a 4-stack here. Even on Classics, this could still be lethal.
And those paint shells go just over the top. Governor a second too late on the timing from getting so much for the team. And Or moments away. Harmful with the classic away from finding another Sheets flawless. And it's Zeldris to peak the lowest HP member. But there it is. It comes to fruition. 3 kills for the Rays. A showstopper online, but a Sheets flawless at the end of the day, and it brings us within 2.
Yeah, when I said it could be a lethal round, I was just testing you. Not really that lethal when you have Classics, but I mean, the positioning for Squirtle Squad looked really good. They were ready for the arcade push. They read into it. It's just with the weaponry difference, it's so hard to capitalize on that upwards elevation. But again, we talked about how the pistol round was really important. Let's flip it around. This is also an important rifle round for Squirtle Squad. If they can make this work, have the double contact on B, and preserve especially Adder's life here, they could stifle OR's push into B and maybe stop them from pushing it for the next few rounds. But there's no utility, no stopping power. It's a slow descent, though, into the underbelly. One cross, Adder has the read, and he's forced to back away.
And here comes that showstopper. Zeldris getting a little weird with it. He stumbles a little bit, trips on his shoelaces, and Governor's happy to collect 2 kills as they push through the Sky Smoke. Adder 2 of his own. And maybe we go flawless for flawless. Nope, Caster cursed in the moment as Nilly finds the first, and this bonus round looked just like a bonus round. 5 rifles too strong for OR Esports and Squirtle Squad to find a 9th.
And remember, that 9th round, Squirtle Squad is 4 rounds away from potentially taking this entire series and disrupting OR and all the prominence they've made. Again, the only last left unsigned team in LCQ having this big lead so far by a map in 3 rounds. If they can keep this momentum going, it's going to look so good for them. But again, it comes down to that. Good adjustment there for Nilly. For Harmful, hiding away those Cypher tripwires. Be really stealthy. But again, that requires a lot more prominence for OR to stay on site for the spike to go down. They love to play off site. 2 suppressed by the 0 point, and that's good. That means aiming can't push up. It buys more time for OR to sneakily hide onto the site, but first tripwire I've already seen. Cuts across entirely, makes blast packing very difficult. But you know what doesn't make difficult, Tanner? Arcade. There's no tripwires there. All there is a single Cypher cam to be the eyes for B-site. Spikes being handed back and forth like the hottest of all potatoes. But it's Leo to take that charge. Does have the fault line, not close to the Rolling Thunder. No one in tower. In fact, there's no pressure at all from Squirtle Squad on B. They have to make that slow rotate back over that patient one. But they're hit by the tripwire. Governor's able to make his way the blast pack over, but there will be another tripwire for him to bypass, and that will be heard.
Precision kill.
And Governor just sent on a solo mission. He says, hey guys, I can get over this. You can't. They're not going to expect this. And he capitalizes. We'll see if he backs away from this one. He's expecting a player on the close angle. The flick is there, and Pure unfortunately is not. 6 feet under goes the Brimstone. Smokes off the table, and a spike yet to be planted as a fragment into the safe corner. Looks to stall for now. Zeldris gets one back
Spike
in response,
down,
and Jonah also gonna try and help this Ori Esports squad claw their way back into this round. They need it, as it's their first rifle round, and if you blinked, you missed it. Weeded and Harmful come together to find a 10th.
And like these rounds look like they should be going in OR's favor, at least in the beginning. Nobody's on B site. Sentinel utility. Nilly, one of the best defensive anchors. I'm sorry, get my ciphers mixed up. Harmful, one of the best defensive anchors you could be looking for, right? And it, like, you know, that's the only opposition you have. Everybody else is off site. And so when you have these very slow rotates, OR, they should have the prime positioning for the retake to take everybody down. But when you blast back over those lurking tripwires, when you're able to take down some of your most important members of your team so early on by a flank, despite having great utility for both ciphers, it gets very difficult. And now that 3-round lead we were talking about is expanding further and further. OR, they're going for their timeout here, and this has to be a desperate change. They have not been able to find the answer yet for Squirtle Squad, who, thus far, I feel like their biggest strength have been winning out on these gunfights.
If something has to give here, Jonah and Zeldris trying to carry, Fireman's carry, maybe Fireman's drag.
Yeah.
This Ori Esports team across the finish line to try and get us out towards a map 3. The proactive defense of Squirtle Squad in that last round, I think, is what separates these two teams in their defensive styles. Where Ori Esports fought for the extremities early in the rounds and were met with contention and oftentimes lost it. It's very quiet in that previous round, round 16, and Squirtle Squad slowly start to take this space away and try and figure out where this hit is coming, and it worked so perfectly. We'll see if they can do it again. Out towards B main they go. A few players here turned around as Pure VNS, and I don't even know what he's looking at. The backstab is there. Okeanos picks up 2 of his own as well, and Nilly just left on an island. A 1v3, a Stinger, and a Dream. But surely this is an 11th for the Squirtle Squad.
Yeah, and talking about proactive defense, Adder 0 point, spotting on just about everybody. Harmful there, eating the eyes of Nilly, the mirror mode battle, and again, 11 rounds now. Just the slow collapse against the attackers. We even saw OR try to fake going for the rope, but only one member had it crossed, and everybody else was kind of left to be taken down. And you're completely right, Tanner. The proactive defense that we're seeing from Squirtle Squad has been that gleaming factor, crunching against the attackers that are meant to crunch the site themselves. Those gunfights, no matter what weapons we see, have been working out, but now what could very well be the final rifle round here. OR are playing a dangerous game. If they lose all their bodies this round and can't get or anything less than a flawless, they might be looking at a save for series point in this matchup.
One suppressed.
But right away, the 0 point only detects 1. Adder well on the case. Reverse 0 point doesn't actually spot him out either. But there's the proactivity yet again. Harmful trying to slice the pie. Look at that opening shot.
Once more, if they fight for the extremities, they don't quite win the first duel. Blast pack comes through. Zeldris on the site. Inside tower goes 1. Zadder collects that refrag. Now wants to look for some more. Able to dismantle this Zeldris push. No command subsides. Fault line comes through. Stunned up is 1. Pure VNS still fighting forward. Okeanos fighting off of his utility. Beautiful flash from Adder. And like you said, the last rifle round quite possibly comes down to this from Jonah. 6, and he gets it done.
That's the round you need if you're OR. That is the clutch that brings everything back. And now the economy should be a lot better for the team. We'll have to wait after these replays, though. What a good way of deciding, just breaking apart the defense. We've talked about how gunfight heavy Squirtle Squad have been opting to play. And finally, though, Jonah emerging from the tower, a place that Squirtle Squad has often neglected to even look at, regardless of the side. Taking full advantage. And now we see rifles yet again. Nearly so close to that neural theft. Guardian in hand. Almost everybody on OR. If they can farm these orbs pretty well for their attack this round, they could be looking upwards to maybe 3 or 4 ultimates. But the same could be said for Squirtle Squad. A neural theft, orbital strike, and even the null command could shut everything down in an instant. But Nilly's on that lurk again. Keep in mind, only with a Guardian. Oftentimes, these satellite plays have been met with a lot of contention, a lot of gunfights. And Governor's no stranger to those. He's going to opt to push back into A site. The pressure, whether he realizes it or not, could be invisible towards A main. OR and company, though, taking the charge, checking every single corner. They understand the stakes now. They're down a map and potentially 2 rounds away from losing out. They're bundled up together. Not quite the death ball, but a minor crunch, and Governor's ready.
That he is on the angle. Boombot comes down and bounces away. Paint shells to force him back. All the util dealt with here in the orbital strike to force him away. With just shy of 40 seconds on the clock, we'll see if the A site is still the final destination for this OR Esports squad as the paint shells force the team apart, but Lear pushes forward and finds the frags. Now the spike is down as a showstopper goes into the spawn. Zeldris collects one with the ultimate, and Rolling Thunder was queued up moments ago, and with 20 HP, how much can you collect? A good backstab. We go Cypher for Cypher. The hat is off and the information. The players have been revealed. One flash to play with. Pure VNS able to answer back. Harmful trying to have himself around, but he leaves it all up to the very, very capable Adder. And it's Squirtle Squad to do it again. They push us to map and series point.
Map and series point. All the ultimates at once to not only give that kind of warning for the orbital strike, like, hey, OR, don't go here. But they were like, no, I'm gonna go here regardless. And they got met with everything, the literal kitchen sink in their face. But now's the time to maybe turn the tide. A side's been a little wonky for both of these teams for the attack. B side's been looking a lot more appetizing. Orbital strike, the Rolling Thunder. OR could very well serve the same exact sandwich back over to Squirtle Squad, but they have to do it right. And there's a big squad there looking for the gunfights. They're thirsty too for it.
Oh my goodness, okay, it's sticks and stones, but they've broken the bones of the defense, and Harmful's gonna try his hand at it. Sure, why not? You've got a couple of rounds to play with here. 3 players on the site, no util to work with, unfortunately. It's all across the map. And or you still have to be safe about this one. Your economy can't afford to start dropping like flies, and Harmful knows that. We'll go on the hunt here. This is not a very winnable round, but we've seen stranger things.
Oh, absolutely. Harmful, I think, though, playing it safe, opts to back off. Again, the buys this round haven't been as great, with no credits left. Squirtle Squad have to take what they can into the next round. And through all of that, we barely saw any of those ultimates we mentioned at the beginning of the round. That means OR, they can preserve that and use it for a much more desperate situation into the next. A great round for OR to keep this competitive, despite it being series point for Squirtle Squad's favor. OR are not ready to give up just yet. So what's going to happen to the next round? The buys looking not great for Zeldris N, but everybody else, it's opting to be a full save for Squirtle Squad. They're taking advantage of the fact that they have the 4-round lead. They can up to buy and, not buy. Use a little bit of safety room in their favor. But it doesn't mean this is going to be an easy road ahead for either one of these teams. Tanner, there's still a big opportunity, but OR could bring this to overtime.
Very, very possible. Brick by brick. One step at a time, and they've got some pretty good utensils in this round to help stack those bricks. And Squirtle Squad, anything but. You have to give respect to the possibilities in this round based on the economy. It's so poor, so you know something cheeky is happening, and we're looking at cheeky right now, right? Harmful with the shorty, Adder with the Bucky, Cage goes up, so does the Cypher, he bonks his head, but how much more can he find? Boombot not gonna find too much just yet, playing inside the cage. The shorty gets nothing. The Boombot instead will do the trick. And these ultimates might not even be needed as Adder gonna hold position inside tower, and nobody's headed that way, unfortunately. This RoboCop won't find anybody detained. He's just hoping and praying. No, Zeldris get a little aggressive. Leg shots will do it. The right click and get some good damage on the Jonah, but not enough to win the round. A 9th for OR Esports. 3 rounds separate us from headed to overtime.
It was respectable. It was a good play, good clutch there with at least taking down Zeldris, but 9-12. It's getting closer and closer, possibly the match point, and the buys for our Squirtle squad still are not looking great. A Bulldog, Okeanos, what are they going to get? Probably they could full buy here. They have full utility, and they opt to go for the light shields. It's a game of preservation right now. The heavy shield's now acquired. But OR, they've been able to be a little bit more tricky with their opening plays here, but now on this potential crunch, they're covering all lanes with the closest thing you can get to a default on Fracture. 0 Point does spot out Zeldris. He's forced to back off. Still, though, Pure hasn't been detected yet, and neither is anybody from Arcade except for the shoulder of Lear.
One of many ults used thus far, one of 3, I should say. No way. Zeldris immediately gets answered. 2 kills right back, though, and the information to follow is Nilly. Finds a trade onto Okeanos. Gonna keep the numbers in favor for Esports for now as Governor works his way on up. He's been tagged by the camera. And he'll need to back away from it. No, it was a neural theft that was revealing the position of the Rays. We did, meanwhile, working his way through Canteen. In this B site, it's triangulated from Arcade, from Main, and from Tower. Nor Esports holding this one down. Almost strike available for the post plant, but surely it won't be needed. We did. Gonna have to show us some heroics. A kill and a death will find the orbital strike for the Brimstone of Squirtle squad, but he's obviously shooting for the stars. We'll see if he can find himself landed on the moon. Unfortunately, he cannot. Weeded falls. Pure VNS comes out on top, and our Esports find their double digits.
Closer and closer, continuing the pressure B. It's been the weak spot right now for Squirtle Squad's defense. And we've seen just about every combination you could possibly expect. Utility, players, positioning, everything being brought out. And yet over and over again, OR have been able to find a way to make it work. And so we're going to see again. A few more seconds until we get into the next round. A bit of a broken buy yet again from Squirtle Squad. Interesting little squad happening, though, on the top of Satellite. Looking to maybe find some impact at the beginning of this round. Nobody from the attack is going to be on the northern side of Fracture. They're all down below again, trying to avoid whatever outwards utility comes out here. But no 0 points this time. And a lot of that might have to do with that Adder's been playing 0 point early on outside of A. And if he reveals himself outside of B, that might change the direction that OR want to push. They're hoping that maybe Adder could be that silent factor here. Flash goes down. Spike not even yet picked up, but Adder's been discovered. Fragment grenade instead. And the rotate's been called all the way back over to A. And look at this. Arvo's rotating. Oh, but now he's back. Everyone's rotating over at once. Squirtle Squad just need this final round to bring it back. 2 maps now. But they're failing to do so, and Zeldris has full control of the site.
Yeah, Showstopper that doesn't find much. 5 players coming from the spawn, though. It's never a great retake when you're all coming from the spawn. We did. With an orbital strike of his own. Pure VNS also going to be able to play that post plant with the orbital strike. Fragment goes down and splits up the team. These Stingers can't quite get the job done just yet, but the Bulldog does, however. And Squirtle Squad, a player ahead. And after a showstopper, excuse me, for Governor. The orbital strike comes through and Zeldris still undetected. The paint shells go out and some chip damage onto the Rays down to 29 HP. But he holds stalwart. He doesn't give up his position until he does. And Harmful gonna stick it, and Squirtle Squad have done it with sticks and stones. The yard sale buy they send OR Esports into the lower bracket, and they've qualified for the Challenger Circuit.
Beautiful work from Squirtle Squad, the last unsigned team in LCQ.